I never imagined I'd be telling a story where my mom ends up fighting off an entire HOA, but here we are. It started with a fence. Not even a big one. Just some barbed wire we put up to keep the livestock from wandering too close to the creek. Normal farm stuff. But apparently, it was also the opening shot in a war we didn't know we were fighting. See, my mom, let's call her Commander Grisesh, is not your average single mother. She's a retired Navy logistics commander who now runs a small farm on the edge of a town called Redstone Bluff. She's the kind of woman who can fix a busted well pump with duct tape and a paperclip, then cook a 3-course meal with what she grows out back. You don't mess with Grace. But someone did. Her name? Cheryl. HOA president. Pencil skirts. Fake pearls. And a clipboard fused to her hand. She showed up one morning flanked by 2 wannabe enforcers and a guy named Mitch who dressed like he thought he was SWAT but moved like a disgraced mall cop. This fence violates Municipal Code 18. For on-perimeter aesthetics. Cheryl barked, staring at the wire like it had insulted her French manicure. Grace didn't blink. You're standing on my property. That didn't stop them. Mitch tried to assert authority. Said the HOA had jurisdiction under some shared residential clause. Then he shoved me when I stepped between him and our animals. That was a mistake. My mom didn't yell. She didn't threaten. She just stepped forward, grabbed his wrist with 2 fingers, and pivoted him onto the ground like it was a dance move. Navy training. Cold. Clean. Controlled. Of course, Cheryl started shrieking about assault. Called the sheriff. But when Deputy Ross showed up, the same guy who coached my Little League team took one look at the footage from our barn cameras and quietly led Grace into the cruiser. Not arrested. Just protective custody, pending review. I uploaded that footage. No commentary. Just truth. By morning, it had over 20,000 views. People started asking questions. About Cheryl. About the HOA. About why a barbed wire fence was more dangerous than the people trying to tear it down. Then came the envelope, taped to our front gate like a death threat. 17 violations. Everything from unauthorized fencing to reflective nuisance objects. They even flagged our compost pile. Said our solar panels disrupted the neighborhood aesthetic. This wasn't code enforcement. It was retaliation. Grace didn't react right away. She tightened irrigation pipes. Checked the backup generator. Prepped like she was back in deployment mode. Because she knew this wasn't over. That night, someone cut the main water line to our crop beds. Left behind a snapped plastic connector. We didn't call the city. Grace just muttered, "They're trying to break supply lines." Classic tactic. Then came the night visit. I heard Bruno, our dog, growl, low and steady. I went outside and spotted a man in an unmarked jacket, holding a taser, walking toward our chicken coop. I yelled. He ran. But he left something behind, another envelope. Final warning. 2 days later, animal control rolled up, clipboard in hand, claiming our livestock posed a public health risk. Mitch and Cheryl followed in a black SUV like it was a company outing. When the officer reached for the coop gate, Bruno stepped between them and the chickens. Didn't growl. Just stood there. That's when the guy raised his taser and fired. Bruno yelped and hit the dirt. I ran to him. My mom. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stared. Ice in her veins. You shocked a family animal, she said to the officer. That was your last mistake. Later that night, Grace pulled out a file I hadn't seen since I was a kid. Military records. Photos. Operation logs. One picture had Cheryl accept back then. Her name was Lisa. She had been part of a vendor group Grace exposed during a Navy corruption probe. They buried the file. She vanished. And now, somehow, she was running our HOA. That's when Danielle showed up. Mid-level admin. Shaky voice. Big folder. I can't do this anymore, she whispered. She's falsifying safety reports, redrawing landlines, and partnering with a real estate firm. Your farm is marked for acquisition. Not if. When. Grace didn't panic. She asked Danielle for access. Then she opened a secure drive and began pulling files. Names. Contracts. Payment trails. She wasn't going to punch back. She was going to dismantle them. Strategically. Legally. Permanently. We filed an official motion under civil resilience codes. Requested a community-wide HOA audit. By the end of the week, anonymous posts with proof of corruption were circulating. Then Mitch showed up again. Solo this time. Pretending to do a compliance walk. He broke the latch on our Feedster agent camera. I posted the footage. Compliance officer commits property damage. It exploded. The next day, we found our greenhouse smoldering. Someone had lit a small coil bomb inside. Deliberate. But the worst part, I stepped on a buried pressure plate near the coop. It snapped upward. Not a mine. But it tore through my leg. Grace treated it herself. Tourniquet. Gauze. Dead calm. Then she grabbed a sealed satchel from the barn. Sidearm. Uniform patch. Flash drive. I'm done, she said. They wanted war. They'll get strategy. She uploaded everything. Sent copies to the State Fraud Division. To the press. To a watchdog blog. Then she filed a motion to suspend the HOA. By noon, news vans were on our road. Cheryl held a press conference accusing us of inciting civil unrest. But we had paper trails. Witnesses. Surveillance. Her old Navy file. At the hearing, Grace didn't raise her voice. She just told the truth. I testified. 2. Not to fight, but to finish. The verdict. Cheryl's credentials revoked. HOA operations suspended. Our land protected. The next day, a single letter showed up in our mailbox from a woman 2 counties over. Because of what your mom did, I'm ready to stand up too. Funny how a fence became a battlefield. And how one woman reminded a whole town that silence is a choice. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with an HOA overstepping their boundaries? Or seen someone weaponize community rules for personal gain? Drop your thoughts below, and if you think more people need to hear stories like this, don't forget to share.